Okay, we've got a review over right triangles. Let me see. So we're going to start out with a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. This is the hypotenuse, right? The longest side. These two are the short sides. If they wanted this one, it would be 10, right? 10 and 10, but they asked for AR, which is this one. So you multiply by square root of 2, right? And you get 10 square root of 2, right? Okay, for this one, this is the 2 side. Okay, let's see if, yeah, this is the 2 side, right? The hypotenuse, right? Across from the right angle, the 2 side. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, divide by 2, and then multiply by radical 3. So that's what I'm doing here. So 10 divided by 2 will be 5, and then multiply by radical 3, because I'm getting bigger again, is 5 radical 3. Okay? Okay, this one says find the height of this equilateral triangle. Okay, all the sides are 20, right? So to find the height, one nice thing that we know is that this is a 30, 60, 90, right? Because all the angles in an equilateral are 60. So you split this one in two to be 30. So you got two 30, 60, 90s, right? So basically we're going from the hypotenuse to the short side and then find the height, which is the radical 3 side. So we're going to say divide by 2, multiply by radical 3. Okay, so 20 divided by 2 is 10 times radical 3 is 10 radical 3, and that's the height. Okay? All right. And you could have done the subtracting Pythagorean theorem because you had two sides out of three. This is the hypotenuse, so you have to use the subtracting Pythagorean theorem to find the other leg that's missing. So square root of 20 squared minus 10 squared. That'll give you the correct answer, but this one is the most correct because it's the perfect answer. This one is an approximation. Next, is this a Pythagorean triple? Well, a Pythagorean triple is whenever all three numbers are whole numbers, right? So if this is a 15 and a 36 and you find this side, if it's a whole number, then it's a Pythagorean triple. So how do we find this side? Well, it's the adding Pythagorean theorem because we have two sides. We're trying to find the hypotenuse. So we say square root of 15 squared plus 36 squared, and it's 39. So if this is 39, then all three numbers are whole numbers. So yes, it's a Pythagorean triple. Okay. Uh, is this a Pythagorean triple? Okay, so this is the hypotenuse, so we have to use the subtracting Pythagorean theorem, right? So square root of 15 squared minus 9 squared will give us 12. So yes, these are all whole numbers, so it's a Pythagorean triple, right? All right, so the distance between B and C, that's this one. So basically, we know if this is 45 and that's 90, add them up, subtract from 180, this would be 45 as well. So basically, we have the long side, the hypotenuse side of a 45, 45, 90. So we have to divide, okay, well, we know it's 45. We have to divide by radical 2 to get the short side, right? So we take 25 radical 2 and divide it by radical 2, cancel those, and we get 25 for each of these two sides, whichever one we want, okay? All right, the perimeter of a square is 80. Okay, if the square is 80, then divide by 4, you get 20 for a side, right? And remember that this is a 45, 45, 90 if it's a square, right? So it's a 45, 45, 90. 20 is a side because we divided by 4, right, to get one of the sides because all of them are the same size. And then if we want the diagonal, then we are getting bigger, so we multiply by radical 2 and we get 20 radical 2, right? Okay, so that's the diagonal. If we'd have been going backwards to get this one, we'd divide by radical 2. Okay, so 32 degrees. Okay, weird number. We're looking at, so far we've only learned tangent, okay? But it says AC, so let's go ahead and put X here, okay? Um, that's what we're trying to find. Okay, from the angle, this is opposite, far away, right? Adjacent's real close by, but not the hypotenuse, right? So if it's opposite over adjacent, you use tangent, right? So what do you put here? Yeah, you put the angle, right? 32. So you put 32 in there. What do you put here? The opposite, which is x, right? And then the adjacent, 44. So we put that there. So here it is. Okay, if x is on top, you just multiply these two together. It's like cross multiplying. Okay, but the 44 has to be in front. So 44 tan 32, punch it into your calculator, and you should get 29.1 for this side. Okay, That's x on top. You multiply, make sure the right one's in front. Okay, x on bottom now. Okay, from this angle, we're trying to find CB, so let's put an x on there. So we're trying to find this angle, so opposite is 100 this time, not x. 100 over x. Okay, so if it's opposite over adjacent, it's got to be tangent. So tan of 50 is 100 over x, right? Opposite is on top, 100. And then if you have x on bottom, you remember what we do? Yeah, you have to switch, right? Switch. They switch places and you divide. So switch and divide. 100 divided by tan 50 will give you 83.9 for this length, CB. Okay? All right, that's x on bottom. You switch them and divide. Okay, if you're trying to find an angle, ding, 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 you use inverse whatever. And in this case, it would be tangent because that's opposite over adjacent. So we'd use, oh, it made a bell sound. Can you believe that? Okay, inverse. Okay, we do the inverse, and it's tangent because it was opposite over adjacent. 17 is on top because it was the opposite one. Punch it into the calculator. Second tangent, 17 divided by 24. Hit enter, and you get 35. Okay. And here's a word problem. Okay, a ladder leans against the side of a building. There it is. See that ladder? It says the base of the ladder. In other words, the bottom of the ladder is 15 feet from the bottom of the building. So we put the 15 there. And the angle of elevation the ground makes with the ladder is 62 degrees. So we put the 62 there. And it says, at what height does the ladder touch the building? Okay, it touches right there. So it's talking about this straight up and down height, right? So that's my x, right? So is this tangent? Of course. Opposite, adjacent, x is going to be on top, right? So tan 62 equals to x over 15. X was opposite, 15 was adjacent. Whenever x is on top, you just multiply these two together, right? Which one goes first? Of course, the 15, right? So 15 tan 62, punch it in. 28.2 is how high off the ground the ladder is, okay? That ladder must be even longer, right? All right, so very good. We're done. Let me get out of here, punch this out. Where's this thing at? There it is. All right. Thank you. Bye.